Hi guys, and welcome back to Zero's Maverick Hunting. You know, when I was deciding to do a Halloween special, I wanted to do something different. You know, the regular stuff that people do for Halloween specials is they'll do games like Castlevania, Resident Evil, Splatterhouse series, Silent Hill, all that kind of gothic horror or survival horror stuff. But what I wanted to do was a game series that was really more of a... It's a horror... It has to do with horror, but it's not necessarily with Halloween. And it's kind of more of a sillier game series. And that series is the Ghosts and Goblins series. I have 3 of the games, or 4 of the games. I have Ghosts and Goblins for the NES, Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo, and on the Capcom's Classics Collection Volume 1, you get Ghosts and Goblins and Ghosts and Ghouls, the arcade games. So I'm going to take a look at these games today. The series started in 1985 when the first game, Ghosts and Goblins, was released in arcades and was later ported to a ton of consoles, most notably for the NES. You are Sir Arthur, a knight in a red beard and fragile armor who risked his life to save the Princess Prin from the evil Astaroth. Yeah, the story of this game isn't that great, and the names are just as hilariously bad, but it's a mid-80s arcade game, so the story doesn't need to be epic. These games are your typical side-scroller action platformers. The controls consist of jumping and shooting weapons. In terms of play control, the jumping is awkward and will take some getting used to, and you can only shoot right in front of you, so you need to plan out your strategy well, because you're gonna die. A lot. What I mean by this is Arthur's armor can only withstand 1 hit before it shrivels up into nothing and you're caught fighting in your underpants. And if you get hit without any armor on, you're done for. However, you can obtain several weapons such as your standard lance, torches, daggers, axes, and arrows to make things easier. In the sequel, Ghouls and Ghosts, several things were improved on in the gameplay department. You can now attack in 4 directions, and you can also double jump. The game also added to the arsenal with new weapons, the sword and the psycho cannon. You can also now get several types of armor, such as the bronze armor, which upgrades your weapons with magic, and is colored green, and the gold armor, which upgrades the bronze armor and adds a shield which will give you an extra hit, provided that you don't get hit from behind. Finally, in the next sequel, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, the moon and sun shields were added. Throughout this review, you've probably noticed that I've only been able to show footage of the later levels in Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Well, there's a good reason for that, and that reason is, I suck at these games. Remember when I mentioned that you will die often in this game? Well, it's true. Much like other horror-style games, like Castlevania and Splatterhouse, if you know the game, then it's not so bad, but if you're new to it, get prepared to die, and die, and die, over and over again. Not only that, but after beating all the stages before the final stage, you'll have to go beat all of those stages over again, with increased difficulty I might add, before unlocking the final stage. Luckily, I was able to acquire some footage for this game, which was provided by Nintendo Capri-Sun, a fantastic Let's Player. Check him out on YouTube. Anyways, back to the review. The graphics in all the games look fantastic, and while the arcade versions are definitely superior, the home versions do a good job portraying the games and making them look good. Even on the NES, the game looks fantastic. The music is no contest. When it comes to video game music, Capcom is the king, and the music has some addictive qualities as other Capcom franchises such as Street Fighter and Mega Man. The sound effects are also good, and match up well with the graphics and music. In conclusion, are these games worth it? I'd have to say yeah. Sure, they're really hard, and that might frustrate some people, but once you get the hang of them, they're really fun games. I mean, regardless of how hard I think they are and how frustrated I get at playing these games, I still play the hell out of them, even if I can't beat the first level. Now, getting these games isn't too hard. The easiest one to probably get is the NES version right here. That won't run you for too much. The Super Nintendo version might be a little harder. I got lucky getting an in-box copy for about $20. The Capcom Classics Collection, Volume 1, contains the original 2 arcade games. It's for Xbox and PlayStation 2, but be warned, the Xbox version is not compatible with an Xbox 360, which really sucks because the Mega Man Anniversary Collection for Xbox works just fine on an Xbox 360. Other than these versions of the game, finding other versions, it depends. Sega Genesis version isn't too hard to find. The PC versions of all the different computers it came out on aren't too hard to find. The spin-off games, Maximo and the Demon's Crest series. Demon's Crest series is a little rare. The Maximo series is a little is still fairly uncommon. You might be able to find it for a decent price. We'll get to the Maximal series sometime, by the way. And good luck trying to track down the Wonder Swan or Super Graphics versions of these games. And good luck getting a Super Graphics that works. Anyways, guys, that's it for this episode of Zero's Maverick Hunting, and I'll see you next time. And have a happy Halloween!
With over in the land, I'm ready for a fight. Get on the right path and I'm off at the night. Ghosts in the woods, always on the ground. Creatures of the night, everywhere look around. I draw to the dark with the lance in my hand. I demand nothing less than freedom of my land. Kill the Cyclops, doing the red devil. I break to the woods and doing another level. A strange new place awaits the grand move. Fell down a few times, but now continue. I jumped across the ledge, you do it old house. I barely went to bird, went straight for